time has come to pull our winter gear out of the closet and start thinking about when we might want to lace up our boots and hit the slopes. Honoring just snowbound games seemed like a difficult list to fill, so we included any franchise that requires a board, whether you're racing it down a mountain, a wave, or an empty swimming pool. Gameplay would seem like the deciding factor for determining each game's worth, but we also awarded points for believable environments, recognizable characters, and a completely insane story mode. Skate or Die doesn't hold up beautifully. It's an ugly game with sloppy controls about some punks who just want to skate. They'll knock each other around with a paddle in an empty pool, or just punch each other down the streets. Its attitude is more a misguided, kid-safe approximation of actual skate culture, yet it would be totally grody to exclude such a classic jam from this most excellent countdown. The variety of modes makes it one of the best extreme sports games on the NES. There haven't been many surfing games over the years. We'd all rather fly down a mountain than wait in the ocean for the right wave to open up. While Kelly Slater isn't as well known a name as Tony Hawk, the PS2 game he lent his likeness to remains the greatest Hang 10 simulator on any console. Unlike the high-flying antics of California games, Pro Surfer features famous boarders from around the world and uniquely challenging gameplay.
Hey, I've been looking all over for you. We're all meeting up with Wiener Boy. He's got some big surprise for us.
I'm up for it.
Follow me and try to keep up.
The snowboarding in Amped 3 is rather straightforward. It's easy to link together tricks for big combos, but the game lacks the precise feel of something like SSX. Weirdly enough, hitting the slopes isn't really the draw. The story is so insane and hilarious that it has to be seen to be believed. It features a popular boy band, a tabletop RPG, a maniacal game maker, and even a reference to Final Fantasy VII. Never has a snowboarding game, or really any sports game for that matter, been so unabashedly bizarre. We plowed through it all just to see what would happen next, laughing the entire time.
Sweetly executed, my friend!
1998's 1080 Snowboarding had us shredding down mountains and jamming to dope techno beats, while our poser little brother or sister struggled to outmaneuver our sweet grabs and flips. The game isn't without flaws though. 1080 suffers from the same graphical issues as many titles of its era, and in match race mode, the AI conveniently catches up at the last second almost every time. Regardless, 1080 is generally remembered by 25 to 35-year-olds as a definitive title for the Nintendo 64, and was popular enough to spawn 1080 Avalanche, a sequel for the GameCube. To put it quite frankly, this joint is pretty radical. In an era where kart racers were all the rage, Snowboard Kids slid onto the scene and added some unique and refreshing takes on the genre. The game consists of a bunch of goofy-looking kids that race down mountains and throw power-ups at each other while performing tricks off of jumps and collecting coins. The tracks are varied and unique, including Grass Valley and Dizzyland. You can also team up with up to 4 of your buddies. Snowboard Kids is a colorful, fun game with a great soundtrack and a lot of charm. Oh, and you can also unlock a ninja. Ollie Ollie 2 expands on the original game in complex and meaningful ways. Courses have much more height and feature alternate paths that encourage a different approach to each objective. More importantly, reverts and manuals add endlessly complex combos to the mix. After the game launched, a local multiplayer mode was added to enable even more chaos with a friend. Ollie Ollie 2 never stops. The slammin' soundtrack is relentless, and thanks to non-existent load times, you can sit back and board into infinity. Let it be known that GameTrailers is never scared to praise a goofy game for kids. If you're not familiar with Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure, you only need to know 2 things. It uses the Tony Hawk 4 engine, and Timon and Pumbaa ride a wheelless wooden plank together like it's no big deal. Beyond the novelties you find in the character select screen, we believe Disney worlds actually make legitimately rad backdrops for sick tricks and baller grinds. Anytime licensed media crosses with sports games, it typically crashes and burns, but this adventure still gives us thrills 2 generations later. Many skateboarding games pride themselves on ridiculously long combos and outlandish settings. Skate has always taken a more accurate approach. Players perform tricks by tilting and flicking the right and left analog sticks, and these maneuvers require strict timing. Skate 3 takes the extremely solid foundation of the first 2 games, lightens the tone, and adds robust online features. Nearly everything in the game can be tackled with other online skaters, and some of the tasks are especially difficult, such as everyone having to execute a trick simultaneously. The game pushes the genre in an intriguing direction, and it's heartbreaking the Skate series has been dormant, for more than 5 years. All of the SSX games have an edge on the competition, but when it comes to boarding, SSX 3 is our favorite. Though the franchise abandoned the concept in later installments, SSX 3 takes place on one giant mountain. You can try out each course individually, or take one long crazy trip down the entire thing. This connectivity, combined with character rivalries and a DJ that updates you on events around the mountain, makes the resort in SSX 3 feel like an actual place that is still a pleasure to visit again and again. Tony Hawk 3 is the zenith of skateboarding games, and the passage of time hasn't dulled its excitement at all. The game expanded on the core of the series in crucial ways, particularly with the revert. It completely transforms how you play Tony Hawk, letting you continue a combo off a ramp, and therefore greatly expands your options. As a result, the sheer size of combos can be absurd, yet actually pulling off such elaborate chains requires high dexterity and a thorough understanding of the environment. Pro Skater 3 has some of the strongest stages in the entire series, including classics like Skater Island, Canada, and Los Angeles. There were plenty of other Tony Hawk games after Pro Skater 3, but none of them felt as bold or refined. Celebrate the holidays and consider everything you have to be grateful for with a mandatory update Thanksgiving. And you can get a head start on all the titles coming your way before the year ends in our games of December. We'll see you next week for another GT Countdown.